Picture this: a wave of defiance sweeping across America, with millions of voices united in a powerful declaration that the United States has no place for kings or unchecked authority. It's a moment that's stirring emotions and sparking debates as everyday citizens prepare to march in what could be one of the most significant displays of resistance in recent history. But here's where it gets controversial. Some see it as a noble fight for democracy, while others label it as dangerously anti-American. If you're curious about the forces at play and why this is dividing opinions so sharply, keep reading. You might be surprised by the details most people overlook. Citizens from every corner of the country, spanning all 50 states, are gearing up to participate in the No Kings protests aimed at the Trump administration on Saturday. This widespread movement rallies around a central idea: America is dangerously approaching authoritarianism, and there's no room for monarch-like rule in a democracy. Drawing from the spirit of past uprisings, these events symbolize a collective pushback against what organizers describe as a slide toward tyranny. Expectations are high for massive turnout, with millions poised to hit the streets. This marks the second round of demonstrations from a broad coalition that first mobilized in June, when it became one of the largest single days of protest in U.S. history. To give you a sense of the scale, back then, the Harvard Crowd Counting Consortium estimated attendance at between 2 and 4.8 million people across more than 2,000 locations, making it the second biggest one-day rally since Trump's inauguration in January 2017. Just behind the iconic Women's March. Now, the next phase is even bigger, with gatherings planned at over 2,700 spots, ranging from quaint small towns to bustling major cities. It's a testament to how grassroots movements can grow, fueled by shared concerns about the direction of the nation. At the heart of this unrest are the actions of Donald Trump, who has intensified pressure on American cities by attempting to deploy federal troops and bolstering the ranks of immigration enforcement agents. He's also taken steps to criminalize dissent, targeting left-leaning groups he accuses of backing terrorism or political violence. This has led to cities pushing back fiercely, filing lawsuits to block infusions of the National Guard, while local residents flood the streets to voice opposition against what they perceive as the militarization of their communities. For beginners wondering what this means, think of it as a government overreach where federal power is used to silence opposition, potentially eroding the checks and balances that keep democracy healthy, similar to how historical authoritarian regimes have suppressed voices under the guise of security. And this is the part most people miss. Trump supporters have painted the No Kings protests in a sharply negative light, branding them as unpatriotic and orchestrated by Antifa, the loose-knit anti-fascist network known for confronting far-right extremism. They argue that these marches are dragging out government shutdowns and undermining national unity. For instance, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has announced plans to deploy the state's National Guard to Austin, the capital, ahead of the events, framing it as a precaution against potential unrest. This perspective turns the narrative on its head, suggesting the protests aren't just about freedom, but could be seen as disruptive forces that prolong political gridlock. Yet, the movement counters with its own commitment to peaceful action. High-profile Democrats like Senators Chuck Schumer and Chris Murphy, along with independent Bernie Sanders, are slated to join the crowds, adding weight to the call for change. The No Kings Coalition emphasizes nonviolent resistance, with tens of thousands of participants undergoing training in safety measures and de-escalation techniques to ensure things stay calm. As Lisa Gilbert, co-president of Public Citizen and a key organizer, put it, "What's most important as a message for people to carry is that the president wants us to be scared, but we will not be bullied into fear and silence." And it's incredibly important for people to remain peaceful, to stand proud, and to say what they care about, and not to be cowed by that fear. Her words highlight a defiant spirit, urging participants to speak out boldly without descending into chaos. More than 200 organizations have thrown their support behind the October 18th events, creating a diverse coalition that broadens the movement's reach. Organizers have pinpointed key hubs or anchor cities to amplify the message: Washington, D.C., San Francisco, San Diego, Atlanta, New York City, Houston, Honolulu, Boston, Kansas City in Missouri, Bozeman in Montana, Chicago, and New Orleans. These locations serve as focal points, drawing attention to regional issues while connecting the dots on a national scale. The protest's straightforward slogan, "No Kings," directly challenges Trump's perceived authoritarian leanings. Organizers point to several troubling themes, such as the misuse of taxpayer dollars for power consolidation, the dispatch of federal forces to override local control, and Trump's hints at a third term, which they argue makes him act like a monarch above the law. Furthermore, the administration is accused of overstepping by ignoring court rulings, cutting essential services, and conducting deportations without proper legal procedures. For those new to these concepts, this is akin to a leader bypassing democratic norms, like independent judiciaries or fair processes, to enforce personal agendas, which could set a dangerous precedent for how power is wielded in America. As we wrap up, it's worth pausing to reflect on the broader implications. These protests aren't just about one president. They're a flashpoint for debates on freedom, authority, and what it means to be American in a polarized era. Are they a vital safeguard against tyranny, or do they risk deepening divisions that some claim are orchestrated by fringe elements? And here's a thought-provoking angle. What if Trump's critics are right about authoritarianism, but his allies are correct that these rallies are unfairly undermining a legitimately elected government? It's a classic clash of interpretations, one that invites us all to question where the line between protest and disruption truly lies. What's your take? Do you view the No Kings movement as a heroic stand for democracy? Or is it unfairly targeting a leader who won fair elections? Perhaps you see shades of both sides. Share your opinions and thoughts in the comments below. Let's discuss.